okay now? I think we're okay now. I hope we're okay. Excellent. Because it's on camera. I hope not. I hope not. Oh, it might be because I set my camera to auto. Gosh. Well, we'll live with it. Frozen video. Yeah, I think we're good now. Yeah, because I was using... Excellent. Yeah, I was using my camera for, like, actual camera purposes earlier. I was using it to take pictures. And so I changed some of the settings, and I'm pretty sure I put it back to how it is usually for my stream stuff, but I may have forgotten something, so I think we should be okay. I'm also on location right now. We are elsewhere. Let me turn up my... I might have to gain a... I don't know why. I feel like my noise gating is kind of funky right now. Hello. Okay. I think this looks better. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on location at the moment. I'm on the move, but that does not mean I don't have my Gundam. I shall always have my Gundam. But yeah. We've already got his leggies done. Now we're working on his arms. These are the arm bits we've got so far. For right now, we're gonna take a quick detour, and I'm gonna brush my hair real quick because I just took a shower and my hair is wet, and if I leave it tangled and wet for too long, you're a little underexposed. Oh, it's because I don't have my usual lighting. See if I can fix this. Let me see if this is fixable. Oh no. Oh, that's too much. Okay. We're gonna say... What? Okay, I think this is okay. Okay. I upped the exposure, the brightness, just a tad, so it doesn't look as whack. Yeah, I think I'm... Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we're gonna do some quick catch up. I'm gonna brush my hair real quick. You know, just chatting. Let's see. If you see me brushing my hair, excellent. Yeah. Well, combing my hair actually, because fun fact is I've learned combs are better than brushes for your hair, at least if you have straight hair. I only know stuff about straight hair because that's what I have, but that is what we're doing. I took a shower this morning because I needed to wash my hair and I didn't want to do it last night, but today is, and usually I would like just wait till after stream to wash my hair, but because today is a nice day out, I feel the need. Does anyone else do that? I feel the need to like min-max good weather. I feel like I have to take advantage of the good weather as much as possible. So I would rather like get up super early and take a shower so that I have more like prime mid-afternoon sunshine weather. Like, I don't want to waste 2 hours of my prime mid-afternoon sunshine on a shower. Why would I do that? So I take a shower in the morning so that I'm only using morning hours, and then by the time it's like mid-afternoon, I'm basically good to go. And I can go and hang out and enjoy my mid-afternoon sun. It's pretty great. Honestly, maybe I'm a freak for that. I don't know, maybe I feel like it's a thing that people do, right? Because you want to maximize the good weather. I feel like I'm a little bit of a lizard in the sense that when it's sunny out, I have like a physical like need to be outside. Like when the weather is nice out, I have to be outside. If I'm not outside, I will be sad because when it's nice and sunny out, I'm like I need to be out there. I'm wasting my life if I'm not out there when it's like nice and sunny. And so I'm like, so I also feel the need to like min max good weather. I don't know. I know a lot of people are like rain enjoyers, and I too am a rain enjoyer. I love like a nice gloomy rainy day to just like hang out in my house and listen to the rain. Thank you. Thank you for validating my normalcy. Yeah, but when it's nice and sun, like my favorite weather though is when it's nice and sunny out. I That will always be my favorite weather because I love when it's nice and sunny out. I love like being in the sun and being outside when it's nice and sunny out, and I it's just so comfortable. Hmm. You just like the rain and the sun? I don't like being outside when it's raining. When it's raining, I like rain when I'm already inside. When I'm already inside and I'm like, I can just listen to the rain on my window, that's great. If I have to be outside and it starts raining, I'm like, this is the worst experience of my life. But when it's sunny out, it's rough because I also have like I've definitely talked about this before. I have really bad spring allergies. Like I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice, but I am already a little bit like congested because I was outside for like point 0.2 seconds and I'm already a little congested because that's just like what how my allergies are. And yet I'm still like I have to be outside. I literally like had oh my god, one of the things that I did um over the course of this week was there's one day where it was just like 80 degrees and like absolutely perfect and beautiful out. And I was like dying from my allergies, but I was like, no, I have to enjoy the weather. And so I had a whole little tea time picnic. There's a local park near where I live, and I went to the park. I literally like packed myself my tea and my little tea snacks, and I brought a book, and I just sat by this little lake, and I just read my book, and I drank my tea, and I had a little tea time picnic. Morning, good morning, Mjorming actually. Oh no, morning. Yeah. Yeah, I had myself a little picnic. I thought by the time I went home, I had to go home and take like 2 Benadryls because I was dying. But it was entirely worth it because I got to have a nice little picnic and the weather was really nice out and I had a good time and I took my film camera with me. Oh, while while this was happening, so I took my film camera with me because I have a film camera. I like using it, but I'm also a cheapskate. So I bought the first round of film that I bought because also I don't know that much about like shooting in film yet. I'm still learning, so I didn't want to buy like expensive film right off the bat. Um, I think my camera's on autofocus. I think I forgot to turn off autofocus, and so it will keep like. I kind of want to turn off autofocus because it annoys me when it keeps readjusting. But also, that might be a good thing. But yeah, um, so I have my film camera. I'm a cheapskate, and so I bought the cheapest film I could buy, which was film that's really only good for like high exposure. Like this film is only good in like very high exposure settings. Um, so bright sunny days. Like basically, I can't use my film camera unless it's a very bright sunny day out. And you know what? It was a bright sunny day out. And I was like, well, I guess we're gonna take my film camera out because that's the film I have in there. Until I run out of this film, I can only use this camera on bright sunny days. And so I was hanging out. I was taking some pictures, and there was this girl who was feeding some ducks, and I thought it was really cute, and I was like, hey, can I take your picture? Like, I think that's really nice. And she was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And so I did. It was very nice. There was like a bunch of little baby ducks, and they were eating bird seed or whatever. Very nice. Um, and she was like, oh, do you go to the local high school? And I'm like, no, no, I don't. I I didn't have the heart to tell her that I'm like 25. I am definitely not a high school student, but I, you know, I just like was so I thought I'd graduated from the point in my life where I would be confused for a high schooler. I thought I at least grew out of like being confused for a high schooler, because I do still quite often get confused, like assumed to be like a college student, like someone in their early 20s. Um I do still get carded regularly. I was at a convention and I was looking at like self-published stuff like dojins and whatnot, and a lot of the time they like, just for the sake of, they mix um they mix a lot of like all self-published work sometimes just get dumped under the banner of like adult work, because some of it is a lot of it is adult work, but also a lot of it isn't. But anyway, you had to be like over 18 to like look at the self-published stuff, a lot of the self-published stuff. And I was like, okay, and they carded me. They carded me to make sure I was over 18. And yeah, I do still regularly get confused for someone who's like in their early 20s. Like that I can understand. Like that one makes more sense and is closer to like what my actual age is. But I haven't gotten high school in like a hot minute. Um so it was like, what? I guess I guess no, I'm not. I don't go to the local high school. Um but yeah. that was that was how I got asked if I was a high schooler this week. Honestly, I've also gotten to the point in my life where it's like kind of a compliment when people lowball my age, because for the longest time I always hated it when people lowballed my age, because when you're growing up I feel like you always want to be like older, like especially when you're like a kid and you're a teenager, you're like, no, I want to be older. Um, and so I would always get annoyed when people would lowball my age for a long time, because I'm like, no, I want to be older. But now I've gotten to the point in my life where it's like kind of a compliment when people lowball my age. I'm like, oh, you think I'm 20? Thank you. I'm like, oh, thank you. Um, yeah, no, I never get carded, but people also don't think I'm as old as I am. It's confusing. I feel like I'm both older and younger than people think I am. I don't know how to explain it. I just think no one ever knows how old I actually am. Um, and it's kind of funny because I don't think I look like. I know I have like eternal baby face. I have the Asian genetics that bestow me with eternal baby face. But also, like, I am lucky in the sense that I know exactly how my aging is going to go. Um, just based off of my mother and my grandmother, and the sense that I will look exactly the same. I'm not 26. No, I'm 25 this year. I think I was on this step. Yeah. I finished these two. I did these two because I'm supposed to make two of them. Yeah. Heather's a little bit older than me. But yeah. I feel like people always misjudge how old I am, because I feel like I'm both older and younger than people think I am. Um but yeah, I know exactly how my aging is going to go based off of my mother and my grandmother, and it's that I will look exactly the same until I hit 60, and then I will immediately just shift it to old lady mode. Like, it's crazy. Where I will just be exactly the same, because my mother is still at the point in her life where she, like, looks very young. My mom still looks very young. Like, she's the classic, like, oh, is that your sister? Like, she does still get that, with me and my mom, like, when me and my mom are together. I remember once, my mom and I used to do Pilates together when I lived in Connecticut. My mom and I used to do Pilates together, and, it was pretty fun. Pilates is pretty great, by the way. I will talk about that more at a later time because I want to get back into Pilates since it is pretty fun. Yeah. So my mom and I were doing Pilates together, and we were like, after like 1 or 2 lessons, we were like talking to the instructor afterwards, and the instructor was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are your progress is going really good. Like, have you guys ever done Pilates before?" And I was like, "No, but I did yoga." My mom was like, "Yeah, the last time, I mean, I have, but the last time I did Pilates is when I had her, because the last time my mom did Pilates is like after she gave birth to me." And the instructor was like, "What? You're her mom?" And I was like, "Yeah, crazy." So at least I know that, like, I will be aging well. I'm gonna look the same, and then as soon as I hit menopause, it's old Asian grandmother mode. And I'm honestly looking forward to it. Genuinely, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till I just get to be like a little old granny. I feel like I'm meant to be a little old granny. In some ways, I feel like it is my destiny to just be like a little granny. Like, that will be when I am at the peak of my power, is as a little old granny. You talked. I probably did. I always love being a little old granny. I also regularly forget what I talk about. You see, one of the rough things about being friends with me in real life is that I genuinely have no idea how to keep track of what I've talked about and what I haven't. And so, you think it's bad with stream. You guys only talk to me like once a week. It's worse when you're like someone who talks to me on a regular basis. Is I just forget. I just straight up forget. Which way did this go? This goes this way. Because I want this facing, like, upward. Who the heck is messaging me? No about Pilates. Oh, about Pilates? Okay. Okay, yeah. Well, I do want to get back into Pilates. It was pretty fun. Pilates is, like, insane though. I feel like no one expects how intense Pilates is. It's like yoga, but also with weight training. Actually, if I talked about this last week, why am I talking about this again? I'm not supposed to do that. If you want to hear me talk about Pilates, you should watch last week's stream. See, plugging the VODs, because this is YouTube and you can go do that if you want to hear me talk about Pilates, actually. Oh god, my allergies. Okay, we're good. God, I wanna, man, it's so nice out. What else have I been doing this week? I've been reading my webtoons. As always. Actually, I have read some funky new manga though. There's a manga. There's a little local comic shop that I really like going to. Because I mean, obviously I love supporting small businesses. I do want to cut you saying a little old granny. Yeah. That would be fun. Ooh, these are funky shapes. These are some funky shapes. I know you can't really see it, and I don't feel like readjusting because I know my focus is crazy. Well, I guess I can. So I've got crazy focus on right now. With this, is it gonna autofocus for me? Oh my god, wait. I can hear it trying. Oh my god, wait. This is kind of crazy actually. Having autofocus on is kind of insane. But it's a funky shape is what I'm trying to convey, is that this is a little funky shaped polycap. But oh god, when it's zoomed in, it's freaking out more. Okay. We're gonna zoom back out. Oh, my hairbrush, my comb. Oops. I gotta put that there. But yeah, there's this local comic shop that I like going to. That's very nice. I don't want to shout it out because I don't want to dox myself, but it's really, I will encourage people to visit their local comic shop because there always is some, along with your local tabletop store, a la the tabletop gaming center. But I thought you were gonna use the comb for Gouf. Yeah, I need to comb his hair. Obviously. That goes there, and then I bend this downward, and then I get the E-runner. Yeah. If I can find the E-runner. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there's a local comic shop that I like going to that's pretty cool and great. I honestly try, because I buy I buy a lot of manga. Part of why I really like this place is that I'm very used to comic shops. There's a lot of local comic shops that have like good selections of like cool Western comics and stuff like that. I do dabble. I promise I'm not just a weeb. I do dabble in Western comics. There's a lot of good like indie comic artists out there that do a lot of cool stuff. Well, last time I was there, I picked up a newly published comic by Emily Carroll, who's an artist that I really love. If you're into like gothic horror, that kind of thing, and also like a lot of sapphic. It's not even undertones. It's straight up like a lot of sapphic romance, but like gothic horror. It's pretty cool. I love Emily Carroll. She's got a lot of cool works. I think she just does horror stuff in general though. But the one that I bought was like a sapphic horror, which I really like because I read most of it online. She posted most of it online, and I thought it was really cool. And I wanted to buy it physically, but she ran like a pre-order for it through like her own, because she's an indie artist. She ran like her own pre-order for it, and I ended up missing it. I was like, oh, I guess I can never own this physically. But turns out she got she made a deal with like a bigger publisher, and they republished her other works, including this one. So I managed to get a copy of it physically, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, she's a great artist. So this is to say, I promise I'm not just a weeb. But I'm very used to like a lot of comic shops. What they've started doing is that because manga is so popular, they will like stock some manga, but they'll only stock like the bare minimum like popular manga because they just like want the people that read manga to like buy, I don't know, like One Piece and Naruto. Like they'll stock like One Piece and Naruto, like that kind of stuff, just to be like, look, we have manga too. And I can't like super fault them for it because it's like, I mean, you're a comic shop, you're just trying to like live your life and get customers. But you know, as like someone who's a big manga reader, it makes me a little sad because I feel like I get baited a little bit. But this place is like a really nice little comic shop that supports a lot of indie artists, that has like a lot of really cool, it's got everything from like cool like superhero comics and whatnot, but also like a lot of good like indie comics and artists and whatnot. But also the manga section is very good because it's run by like one guy and he curates like everything himself. So the like selection of both comics and manga is really really good and really interesting, and you can literally like ask him about literally anything, and he's like, and you can ask him about literally anything. Like, oh yeah, this is really cool, you know. Oh, my wife recommended this, or like I read this and I thought it was cool. I know I still need to read One Piece. I know I still need to read One Piece. It's been upgraded to being on my list, okay? One Piece used to not even be in consideration, but One Piece has been added to the list. Like I actually do want to read One Piece at some point. At some point in my life. I do plan on doing that. Um, but until then, I do still like reading a lot of random manga. And so one of the things I like doing is I just pick up a random manga off of a shelf because I feel like it'll be good. I go off of pure vibes. And I've only ever found bangers that way. I've only ever found good stuff that way. I feel like it's one of those like little hidden talents of mine. You know, like mundane superpowers of like, I feel like I'm good at just picking something off a shelf and determining whether or not it'll be good because I've only ever found good stuff that way. And so this shop is one that I really like doing that because he's got like a really cool eclectic collection. It's not just like Naruto, One Piece. He's got like a lot of really cool, interesting stuff. And so yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of really cool like LGBT manga and a lot of really, not just that, but like a lot of really interesting stuff. There's a lot of stuff by like Shuzo Oshimi. There's a whole little section for Shuzo Oshimi, which is pretty cool. But it's pretty sick. And so I picked up a few manga from there. There's one that I bought a while back. I bought the first 2 volumes from here a while back, and I read them, and I was like, oh, I thought, because I knew it was a short manga, and I thought it was only 2 volumes, and so I bought the first 2 volumes, and I was like, okay, sick. Turns out there's a 3rd volume, so I read the first 2, and I was like, wait a second, this isn't an ending. Where's the rest of this manga? And then I looked it up, turns out there's a 3rd volume. So I bought the 3rd volume from this place as well. It was pretty sick. Which direction does this go in? It goes this way. Because we're working on the right arm. Oh god, I really hope this connection's... there we go. Arm. Well, what's going to be an arm? But yeah, I bought some funky manga. There's one that I bought. There's one that I just randomly picked up that I was like, this looks like it'll be cool. Because I just felt like it'd be cool. And it's called The Witch of Thistle Castle. And I was, as always, correct. As you guys very well know, my opinions and my ideas are the objectively correct ones. Obviously, that's what you guys watch me for. Because everything that I say is objectively correct, and I have never made a mistake in my life, as you very well know. If you've seen me make a mistake, no, you didn't. It was simply a trick of the light. Or it was a government conspiracy. One or the other, you know, whatever you choose to believe at the given time. But anyhow, I started reading it. It's called Witch of Thistle Castle, and it's really good. It's like, the art is insanely good. It's set in like, it's a very cool like urban fantasy. It's very nice, like kind of cozy urban fantasy. It's set in like modern day Scotland, and it's about this witch named Mary, and she why does the cover for Witch of Thistle, well, she's not well, she does a little bit. She's a modern woman. What can I say? She does partake lightly. she does partake lightly, okay? Come on, she's a modern woman. Let her live. Let a young witch have her pleasures. But anyhow, it's about this witch. She is the Great Witch of Blackwood. And They basically, so in it's kind of, the world building is pretty insane. The world building is really cool and is one of my favorite parts about it. Um, in this world, like, witches are real, and it's set in the modern day. So like all the things with like witch trials and whatnot like did happen, but in this day and age, like magic and witchcraft is more or less overseen by the church. Um, is more or less overseen by the church. The church still doesn't have an amazing relationship with like witches and practitioners, but like basically they don't, they're like tentatively compliant. They're like, okay, yeah, the church is more or less a governing body that keeps track of witchcraft and magic, and like people that hire witches have to do it through the church. That need like magic assistance have to do it through the church. And the way magic is explained in this world is that witches are people with the ability to see and communicate with spirits. So all magic is people, witches, like communicating with spirits and making deals with them for them to do things. That's how magic works. Of like, you make a deal with a spirit and you negotiate with them to like, you give them something and they give you something back. Basically they kind of but they also like use your internal mana kind of like a lightning rod. Of like, you're like, I will give you this thing and I'll let you use my power so that you can give me this thing in return. And being a witch is just getting really good at dealing with spirits. And so this witch, Marie, the main character, she basically just gets like, there's this kid who has like, who's born with this like ancient power that like basically makes him human catnip for spirits. Like, spirits love him. But the thing is, he's so like, he has such high aptitude with spirits, it's to a point where they'll like try and they want to like take his power. They want to commune with him. But the thing is, he doesn't know how to. He's never had like training as a witch. He has no idea how to control it. And so he basically, this kid just gets like shoved onto Marie. He's like, here, take him as your apprentice. Teach him how to do magic. And she's like, what the heck? I never wanted an apprentice. I'm just trying to live my life, you know, hanging out. And they're like, well, too bad. If you want to continue being a witch, you kind of don't have a choice in this matter. And she's like, okay, fine. And it's kind of, it's very like cozy fantasy of like, them getting used to each other and learning, and her teaching him magic and him having to like figure out how all of this even works. And it's a lot of it is like slice of life, world building, that kind of thing. It's very cute. I like that it is 4 volumes total. I liked it so much that as soon as I finished volume 1, I ordered volume 2 online, like on Amazon, because I'm like, I want to keep reading this. This is really good. It's really sweet. And it's the art is really, really good, and I like it a lot. And it's a very fun story. And it's one that I just randomly picked up because I was like, this looks like it'll be good. And I did. And you know what? It was. It is very good, and I like it a lot. And it's just like a nice little cozy urban fantasy. And the world building is really interesting to see them like go about their lives. It's very interesting because like part of why he's so dangerous, or like more like why the way it's played is very interesting, because a lot of people treat him like he's dangerous, but the reality is that he's the one most likely to be victim of his own powers, because his aptitude for spirits is so high. Like, he can commune with spirits very easily. He just doesn't really know how to control it. So spirits will take advantage of that, and like, if he's not careful, they can steal his power and basically use him to do their bidding, because he doesn't know how to control it. He doesn't know how to properly negotiate with spirits. He just like knows that this is a thing that's happening, and they'll basically just take advantage of him. But a lot of people treat him like he's the dangerous one. Like, when he's first introduced, he's like he's like basically in like prison gear. Like, they've basically been imprisoning him in an anti-spirit box. And and they kind of treat him a lot like he's dangerous. And because he also has like internalized that, he's like, oh, I am dangerous. But she tells him, she's like, no, the reason why they're doing that is because you are the one who's the most in danger. Though like there is like vague hints at like a tragic backstory of like, oh, he might have accidentally killed people with his power and whatnot. Like it's like vaguely implied. We don't know too much yet, but boy definitely has a tragic backstory, as he does, as most characters tend to in these situations. He's got his tragic backstory, and so it's like vaguely implied that he may have hurt or even killed someone with his powers. So he's like been conditioned to be like, oh, I am the dangerous one. And she's kind of the first person to be like, no, the reason why I'm doing all this is because you're the one most in danger of your powers. And he's like, ah, you know, it's very sweet. I think they're cute. I think it's a cute little manga, and I want to keep reading it. The one that I read before that I got volume 3 of recently is Lost Lad London. That one is very good. It's really good mystery. It's a murder mystery manga. It's very good. It's very unique in the sense that it doesn't really read like manga. It doesn't really read like manga. The art style and the story is very much more reminiscent of like a Western comic, but it is a manga. Like it's published by a Japanese author in a manga magazine. Like it is manga, but it like just doesn't really feel like one. But it is very good. It's a very good murder mystery, and I like it a lot. And it's only 3 volumes total. It's very short. It's 3 volumes total. It's a nice little read. Good time. I've heard the author started publishing. I was actually talking to the guy at the comic shop. He was like, yeah, the author started publishing a new manga actually, but I don't think it's as good. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of sad. Rest in peace. Maybe I'll check it out anyway, just because I'm curious. Because it turns out it's like a completely, like, they did a 180. This is a completely different, like, vibe that they're, like, this completely different type of story that they're doing. From Lost Lad London, which is a murder mystery. But now they're hard pivoting into, like, fantasy adventure, like sci-fi adventure, and I'm like, I mean, that sounds fun, but I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out if it's good or not. But anyhow, it feels kind of nice to be almost done with Gouf. It's kind of done to be almost done with Gouf. Gouf is one of those, probably one of the kits that have been sitting on my shelf for the longest before I actually built it. I've had Gouf for like a hot minute. I've had Gouf for a while. And I'm really glad that I finally got to build Gouf, because I've just been like trying to find a good time to like build Gouf. I just haven't had like a good time to build. I don't know how to explain this. Like, I care a lot about like the timing of my kits and how and when I build them. Like it is something I put thought into, which might make me a little bit of a freak, but I don't particularly care. And so I'm really glad to like almost be done with Gouf. I think I probably will panel line Gouf. I think I shall do that. I'm still deciding if I want to like build his his like whip on stream, because it was already kind of a pain to like do, like, you see like these guys, and there's also another one like on his waist bits too. Is like I took them off for now because they just kind of kept falling off, but there's also the waist bit here with these little pipings, and you have to do them all by hand, and it's kind of a pain. And so I'm debating whether or not I want to do his little whip on stream. Because usually I don't build the weapons on stream, but mostly because they're like finishing stuff. I consider building weapons and whatnot as like part of finishing work, and a lot of that is either like really fast or just not something I feel like doing on stream. But the whip I feel like might actually be kind of interesting and fun to do, so I shall decide that perhaps once we finish with his arms, which is kind of all that's left to do. Once we're done with his arms, I want to try and finish his arms today, but I also might not, so we'll see. But I think we're making pretty good progress. I think I shall probably finish his arms today. At least I will try. But whenever we're done with his arms, I'll figure out, depending on how that goes, because if I don't finish the arms today, then I am probably definitely gonna build his little whip on stream because I need to do stuff. I need to do stuff. I also still haven't decided what I'm building after Gouf actually. I've been working on Gouf for like so long because Gouf is a master grade, which takes like a hot minute. I've been working on Gouf for a little while now, and so I feel like I haven't even thought about what I'm building after Gouf. Another thing that I shall figure out at a later time because I have so many kits waiting in the wings. I might even be, man, we shall see. I might even be back in Connecticut. I think because what I usually like to do is I like to punctuate big kits with small kits. I might even be working on, because I know I like to punctuate big kits with small kits. Like this has been kind of a long, big build. I'll probably punctuate it with like something like a high grade or something is what I tend to do. I've got a couple of high grades in the wings, but I also have a couple of mecha girls. I've got a couple more. I have obtained a couple more of the 30-minute sisters. There's one that I've been dying to work on. It is the Goth girl 30-minute sister. She's very beautiful. I think if you look up I think her name is Neveralia is what she is. 30-minute sister Neveralia. She's just like a cool little goth girl, and I've been dying to build her. So that might be our next activity is to work on Neveralia. But I was also thinking of doing some like custom stuff with Neveralia. I know I do want to build. I think I'll just like vanilla build her on stream, and then if I have another like in betweener, because I think I did do a kitbashing in betweener once, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So it might be fun to do that, to bring that back at some point, to like do whenever I'm kind of having like another in-betweener episode of like in-between builds. And I don't particularly feel like starting something fresh. I might bring back Neveralia for some funky kit bashing, because I did that before and I really liked it. Speaking of kit bashing, the kit bash I did work on that episode where I was like doing a little bit of light kit bashing, has been going good. I'm still not done with it, but I have been working on her a bit more on my own time, of just like, I really have just been kind of winging it. I'm trying to like, I'm like debating on whether or not I want to splash some other kit stuff in her, because so far it's basically just like 30-minute sister, and also Barbados is kind of the like, because her whole concept is I want to make, is my camera like exploding? Is my camera is freaking out. I do think it's because I have autofocus on. So we're gonna shut that off for like 1 second, okay? You guys are going to have to bear with me for like 1 second while I turn off autofocus, because it's bothering me and I think it's like messing with my video. Yeah, camera's having a stroke. What? Okay. Oh no. Oh no, that's not good. Camera's having a big stroke. That's not great. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's something with my settings. We're going to... Okay. Okay. We're gonna hope. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, what the heck? Usually my camera doesn't have the... Usually my camera is pretty good about this, but I might need to change the SD card is one of the things I might have to do. Is I have been wanting to get a new SD card, and I think that is something I'm going to do today. Actually, I might buy a new SD card for my camera, because the one that I have is quite old. It's quite old. And I constantly have to like, it's also not a very big SD card. And I feel like I constantly have to empty it out. I think my SD card is full. I think my current running theory is that it might have something to do with my camera's SD card being like full. But I don't know, it doesn't, this is so, why is my camera doing this? Is it like a settings thing? Did I like do something? Card is full. I know card is full. Okay. I know card. We're gonna turn that off for like just 1 second while I figure out what the hell is happening with my camera. Card. I know the card is full. Okay. I know it is. Okay. Give me like 1 second to deal with my camera issues, but for now I will just talk about some Gundam stuff. But yeah, I've been working on my little kit bash. I've been having a good time. I have properly glued together. So basically, I think I've more or less finished like her upper body. I'm pretty happy about where I am with her upper body, like her top half. Because at first I was like kind of worried about how I wanted to like incorporate Barbados's head, and that's still a little bit in progress. I'm still like not 100% satisfied with what I have, but I've more or less. So what she has is she's got like Barbados's head is pretty nice. I do like Barbados's. It's most likely not the card. It's usually the connection to the camera to the stream. Huh. Like, all of the cables are in there. Everything looks like it's nice and secure. We'll put her back for now. OBS doesn't like it when settings get changed while the camera's live. Okay, that does make sense. That does make sense. Okay. I basically just reset my camera in OBS, so hopefully we should be okay now. I basically just reset this thing in OBS. I like disconnected it and reconnected it, and it looks like it's okay now. It's looking like it's okay now because it didn't like start freaking out when I switched it on, which is what it did before. So hopefully be okay. I do still want to get a new SD card. I probably will still do that because I do need to get a new one. That's usually what you have to do. Yeah. Yep. Excellent. And hopefully it's okay. If there's any other issues, please let me know. If anything's happening, I will try my best to fix it. I will be trying my best to fix it. Yeah. But yeah, I switched off autofocus and I reset my camera settings on here. So I think we're good now. But anyway, what manga I've been reading. You should read Lost Lad London and also support your local comic stores because it's like honestly infinitely better than buying stuff from like not to say that you're like a bad person if you buy from like Amazon or something. Like I do absolutely still buy stuff from like Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Like I do still do that. It's not like a morality thing, but it is more like I try and buy stuff from local shops if I can, because I just feel like the experience, not only is it like you're supporting a local business, you're also like the experience is more fun because instead of having to deal with like kind of soulless corporate employees, which I feel like you do a lot. I need to hop off for a bit, but I'll be back. Okay. No worries, Heather. Thank you for hopping in. Thank you for being here. Let's go. Oh, this goes here. Yeah. I just feel like it's more fun because you have a much higher chance of like being able to have like cool, fun interactions. Like this guy who runs the local comic shop who knows everything about what's in his store, and it's really cool. And I'm like, hey, what's this about? Like, if I like this, what do you think is good? Like, I thought it'll be fun. Like, it's a good time. And like, I know not everyone likes talking to strangers. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at talking to strangers. I feel like I've gotten. I used to be awful at. I still am not that good. Everyone like the stream and copy the link while I'm gone. Yes, don't forget. Listen to Heather if you want to support us. Like, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, in the little thing that says share, you can copy the link for the stream, and I guess that is good for the algorithm. It is good for our stream. So there is that. Oh, there's a polycap I'm supposed to put in here. Oh. Ooh, can I still get the polycap in here? Well, I've got tweezers. All else fails, I've got tweezers. But yeah. What was I talking about? I kind of forgot, honestly. You see, I kind of just forgot. I think I was talking about local. Oh yeah, I've been getting better at talking to strangers. It's been very fun. I've been getting better at talking to strangers. I still don't think I'm really good at it, but I'm a lot more comfortable with it because I don't know, man. I'm not going to lie, being an adult it's so much easier to like talk to people as an adult than like when I was younger, because I feel like kids are so judgmental. When I was in like high school and middle school and whatnot, like kids are so judgmental, it's crazy. Like, I remember being like in middle school and whatnot, and obviously like being people thinking I'm weird and telling me that they think I'm weird, and I'm like, oh, this is the worst. Like, genuinely, socializing only gets better when you're older. Only gets better as you age, because adults are like able to be normal. Like, even though I am still a little bit awkward and whatnot, I feel like, yeah, when I meet other people who are also kind of awkward, I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, that's just how some people are. Like, I can still carry on and have conversations and enjoy the company of someone even if they're like a little bit awkward. Because, you know, we're all people at the end of the day, and we're all just hanging out. But yeah, I think I mentioned it before, but I started going to this like vinyl enjoyers club, basically, that meets once a month. I started going to this like vinyl enjoyers club. It's been very fun. The first meeting was very like, I've been to 2 meetings now. The first meeting was a bit nerve-wracking for me because, again, I don't know any of these people. I'm like, okay. But I do just like want to hang out and talk about music and have a good time. And the thing is, so does everyone else. We're all just here to talk about music and have a good time. Okay, I need the eye runner. But I was like very nervous at first, but everyone has been very nice to me. Everyone has been very cool and fun, and I've been enjoying it. I even, and like after one of our meetings at one point, which I6. This is a really tiny little piece. This runner's kind of funky because this is basically like polycap 2. I am not looking forward to what all of these little bits are for, though. I see all of these little bits, and I know I will use them for something. I know there's like a million of them, and I know I'm gonna need them for something, and I know I'll be sad when I have to do it. But yeah, I've been getting better. I think like they're all really cool, by the way. They're all just like cool people. They're all cool people who are very nice to me. And I feel like that's also like a bit of a mindset thing that's like, well, yeah, of course, they're like regular people. Like, we're all adults. They're not gonna like bully me. We're all adults. Which is so crazy to like grow up and kind of have to like re-internalize that, like, oh yeah, like regular adults don't just like make fun of people and do that. That's weird for an adult to do. Like vast majority of people don't do that. They're just like, okay, even if you're like a little bit awkward and whatnot, like most people can be normal, and that's great. But yeah, I've been having fun. I ended up like talking to a couple of them after the meeting finished. We ended up just talking about video games for like 30 minutes just in the parking lot. It was pretty fun. And I also got invited to like a cool little izakaya bar by one of them, and I'm looking forward to it. I was like, I didn't know there's like a cool little izakaya bar even remotely close to like where I lived. I was like, oh, kind of cool, and I'm looking forward to going. I think it'll be fun. And but yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are like, it's so hard to make friends as an adult. And I do kind of get that because like people have their own lives, and like you have, when you're an adult, you have like a lot of stuff happening at the same time. You just have a lot of stuff happening, a lot of stuff you gotta deal with. So I kind of understand like it's not always easy to just like find time to hang out with people, but I don't know, I feel like it's only become easier to like have friends as I get older. As I kind of mentioned before, I feel like it's only gotten easier to make friends and talk to people as I've gotten older, because a lot of that pressure goes away. Like as you interact with people who are older, as you get older, it's like a lot more fun, because it's like, well, yeah, no one cares as much, basically. Well, that sounds kind of bad, but like no one is really as judgmental. And I feel like as a teenager, you kind of have, and even as like a young adult, like in college, I feel like a lot of people kind of have this pressure to like, I feel like the pressure to conform is a lot higher because you are less familiar with like how the world is supposed to work. And so I feel like for a lot of people, it's just easier to like force these rigid expectations upon yourself and kind of expect that from other people. And like I feel like a lot of people lash out because of that, of their like, yeah, well, you're not follow, I thought these societal norms are like what life is supposed to be, and if you don't follow them, what's the point of me following them? And so I feel like that's where a lot of like judgmentalness and like cattiness stems from, just in my like my personal game theory. Just my personal theory. I feel like a lot of it stems from people's own like kind of insecure. I mean, obviously everyone's heard the age-old tale of like people who bully others are insecure themselves, which I do think is for the most part true. Of course, there's some people, this is not like a blanket statement, there are some people out there that I've met that I'm like, you're just vindictive, like there's just something wrong with you. That sounds harsh, but it's kind of true. There's some people I've met and I'm like, oh, you're just vindictive and there's just something wrong with you and I don't know what to do about it. Oh, my camera. Oh, I thought I fixed it. We're gonna try, okay, we're gonna try doing this one again. Okay, we're gonna try doing this again. Okay. Deactivate. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm hoping that's okay now. I'm hoping we're okay now. But, yeah. I feel like for most people though, that's where a lot of cattiness comes from. And like, cause I don't know, man, I've always been one of those people that are not very good at like assessing social cues and whatnot. And so I've always like, you know, as a lot of young kids tend to do, like, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I didn't know how to make friends. A lot of people just didn't like me. Because I was just like, and I feel like I was just an annoying kid. I was kind of an annoying kid because I didn't know what I was doing. And I feel like even in like high school and college, you'd feel this like heavy sense of like judgmentalness, and how a lot of people I feel like are kind of just, it felt like everyone's judging you. And to a certain extent, when you're like that young, people kind of were. But I feel like the only reason why people would like judge you so hard are because they themselves are like not fully aware of how the world works and how you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to operate in this world. So it's like, well, I'm doing this because I've learned that this is how the world is supposed to work, but you're not doing this. So like, there's something wrong with you. And obviously it stems from like insecurity and whatnot. And so I feel like as people get older, it kind of just, obviously you get older, you know, you've just been in this world longer. Your frontal lobe has just cooked for your frontal lobe has just cooked for longer, you know? And so it's just way easier. It's just way easier to go about life when you're older. Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. My life has only gotten better as I've gotten older. Like, I don't fully understand people that are like afraid of aging. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's been great. It's been great. Where's the G runner? Where did I put? Oh, there's this one too. I also need this. There's another piece that I need, but it's a piece for later. Where is G runner? Did I like dump it somewhere by accident? Well, this is all the runners. This is all the runners that I have. H, A. These are all the runners that I have, but I did have to pack everything kind of quickly. So there is a chance. Because as you may have figured out, I'm on location. Oh, there's a G runner. Excellent. Okay, I was like very worried. I thought I grabbed everything, but I was like, you know, I wouldn't put it past me. I would not put it past me of the yesterday to forget. Because, fun fact, I forgot my tripod. Fun fact. Part of why it took me like a couple extra minutes this morning is because I forgot my tripod, and so I had to borrow a tripod. Luckily, the tripod I borrowed is like fine. It's almost exactly the same as the one that I have. So it wasn't too difficult. But, yeah, I ended up having to borrow a tripod because I forgot mine. Oh, the other thing that I did recently is I drove a distance. By the way, I road tripped. I've never driven. I think up till this point, the longest I've driven is for like an hour because I drove like an hour. I drove like an hour away. I think that's the farthest I've ever gone. I've only ever been on the highway like a handful of times because I don't usually have a reason. Like, my commute doesn't require me to go on the highway, so I just don't. And so I just don't, like, so for the most part, I have only ever been on the highway like a handful of times. And so, but I wanted to like, I've been planning this little trip for like a while now, and so I'm like, well, I want to take this little weekend trip. Because also, I know I'll be driving back to Connecticut at the end of this month because of my brother's birthday. I know all of you have, which I'll be driving even longer than I did now. Usually this trip would be like, this trip is supposed to be like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Just in terms of pure distance, if there's no traffic, it's just like hour and a half to maybe 2 hours. But there's so much traffic. What was the road trip? The road trip playlist was me listening to an audiobook about toxic sports yaoi. Listen, the road trip playlist was my audiobook about toxic sports yaoi. What's kind of funky is I like listening to music. It's so weird. It's kind of funky. I'm trying to like figure out a good way to explain this. I listen to music in the car a lot, but I'm very picky about the music I listen to in my car. So I knew I'd be driving for at least like 2 hours. Even when I loaded it up on the old Gippus, it was telling me like 2 hours because of traffic. Closer to 2.5 hours because of traffic. And I was like, ugh. Spoiler, it ended up taking me more than 2.5 hours. But yeah, no, I didn't listen to music. Because I feel like sometimes I really wanted to concentrate and I didn't want to like be distracted of like putting on good music and like having to like change the song and whatnot. I don't know, I just felt like it would distract me. And so when I'm trying to concentrate or when I don't have a lot of energy, I feel like I also need energy to listen to music. Like, music kind of energizes me and whatnot, and I like listening to music, but I have to be in the right mood for it. Like, when I drive to work and it's early in the morning and I feel like dying, I always put on a podcast. Because I just don't have it in me to listen to music. But on my way home, usually I listen to music. I've got a couple of road trip playlists. I have one playlist that's called, I made this playlist like years ago called Imaginary Road Trip Tunes, which are like, for when I'm like road tripping and when I have a car. because I made it like years and years and years ago. But also, it's a really old playlist. A lot of that music on there is not really music that I listen to a lot these days. Because I think I made that playlist when I was like deep in my like indie alternative era. I was like deep in my like indie alternative era, and so I was like, I don't listen to that much like indie alternative these days. It very much is. It's nostalgic to me. I do still listen to it. Still listen to some of it sometimes, just not that much. But now I have a new playlist called Road Trip Tunes for Real, which is mostly city pop. I will not lie to you. It's mostly like Japanese 80s, 70s, 80s, with like a little sprinkling of modern J-rock or J-pop. Just a little bit, but it's quite fun. Oh my god, this guy's finger joints are crazy. I have to do a lot for his little fingies. But I didn't put on my road trip playlist because I didn't want to get distracted of like, oh, I want to switch this song. So I just put on an audiobook. Because I knew I'd be on the road for a while and I wanted to like concentrate more, which is kind of ironic. I concentrate better when it's like words being spoken at me. When I need to focus, I put on like a podcast or a YouTube video. Like just like in my life when I'm doing something and I need to focus, I'll do that. Music is for when I'm vibing and having fun. Because sometimes music is like not enough stimulation for when I'm doing something. And so yeah, I wanted to concentrate, so I put on an audiobook. I needed words. Which is what I did. And so yeah, I was listening to my playlist, my audiobook about toxic sports yaoi. Listen, I didn't expect to get as attached to the series as I did, but I did. I may have talked about it before. It's called All for the Game. It's literally like self-published. It's not fan fiction, it's original fiction. I can't in good faith recommend it because the writing is like a little bit clunky because it's very clearly like self-published, but some parts of it go crazy. Like some parts of it are like so well written. You're like, oh my god, it gets you. And also the plot's really interesting. Like I didn't think I would get this invested in like, they're just like playing lacrosse. But also there's like mafias, like, and people are like dying. I'm like, aren't you guys playing college lacrosse? When I was doing my cross-country travel podcasts, audiobooks are top tier. Yeah. I also listen to a lot of podcasts. Usually in my morning commute, I'm listening to a podcast. Because I just listen to like whatever. My first leg of the trip, I was listening to a podcast because I was finishing a podcast that I had been listening to I think it's a podcast I started listening to in the morning, and then I wanted to finish it while I was driving, and then I also just queued a little audiobook. I was like, once this podcast is done, I'll just listen to my sports mafia yaoi audiobook, which is what I did. It was very fun, and it's like it's going crazy right now. I'm on the third book. Well, yeah, I'm on the third book, which is the last one in the trilogy, and I'm like, oh my god, it's going crazy. Fingers, G5, I need oh my god, so many fingers. This guy has like, the finger joint articulation is crazy, that they're like having me build the individual little fingers and the little finger joints. It's kind of crazy. I'm just gonna cut out all of them because I know I'll need them. Because I know I will need them, so I'll just cut out all of them right now. I also need G. This one will come with me. Yeah. Cross-country travel. Now that I've experienced what it's like to drive for 2.5 hours, I'm not gonna lie. Well, also the other thing is it wasn't like, it was very like gloomy and a little bit rainy, and it was like not, I was just like, I'm trying to live. And I got stuck in so much traffic. It was crazy. There was one point where there was 4 lanes that were merging into 2 lanes that were merging into 1 lane to merge into like a larger highway. And I was like, I'm gonna die in here. I'm gonna die here. Because also the other thing is that the like lane lines were not super well drawn. So it was kind of hard to see like where the lane distinctions are. So people were kind of just like free for alling it. And I was like, oh god. And it was New York, so it's not like there's not a single goddamn person in the state that knows how to drive. There's not a single person in the state that knows how to drive. It's like kind of crazy. The other thing, like it's crazy how much the quality in driving like changes when you cross the border. I was like, what? But yeah, no one in New York knows how to drive, basically. And it was kind of a rough time. But then I hit like the main highway, and then it was just like sit on this highway for 45 miles. And I was like, sure, I can do that. That's exactly what I did. And I was hanging out, listening to my audiobook, and just driving, and just trying not to die. That was absolutely the longest I've ever driven for, because up till this point, the longest I've ever driven was like an hour. It was like an hour, and this was like more than 2.5 hours of just like traffic. Like, I swear to God, traffic added like an extra hour to my trip. There was like chunks of time where I just was not going more than 30 miles per hour. I was like, I spent a solid half of this trip just going like 30 miles per hour. It sucked. It sucked. But it's fine. I'm alive now. I guess. And yeah. And I still have to drive back, which is something I guess I'll deal with that when I drive back. But I did have fun though. I do think it's fun. I do think it'll be more fun to like road trip and whatnot as the weather gets better. Because I think part of why I didn't like it that much is because the weather was like pretty garbage, and I was like, ugh. Luckily it wasn't like raining super hard, but there's just like it was just constantly gloomy and humid, and sometimes it would rain and sometimes it wouldn't, and I was like, ugh. But I think when it's like nice out, I will have a better time, because I didn't particularly dislike it. If you guys have any advice for like long distance driving so that you don't just like all your bones don't just start hurting, please let me know, because I will not lie to you, my bones were not in the best shape. I was like, oh, my back hurts, my neck hurts, my jaw hurts, my arms hurt. Maybe it's because I was too tense. I was nervous, so maybe I was just very like tense is kind of what might have been part of it. Because I was tense. Please, I just want to get these little fingers in here. Ugh. Gouf, why do you do this to me? Gouf, why do you do this to me? I think the longest one is supposed to be on this side, and then this little finger goes in here like this. Okay. Come on. Ugh. Okay. This is frustrating. Gouf, why do you do this to me? Do I have to? Am I doing this incorrectly? Am I supposed to like one of these? I'm supposed to do one of these because it doesn't help that this is so tiny. I have small hands, and even this is kind of annoying. Okay. I think I've gotten the technique. This is annoying. I have small hands, and this is kind of annoying. Like, I can't imagine if you have like person-sized hands. I can't imagine how annoying this would be if you have like person-sized hands. Rest in peace, people that build Gundam with like larger hands than mine. Because it's like annoying and small, and even for me, and sometimes I gotta whip out the tweezers. But even then, sometimes the tweezers don't really help. It really depends on the thing that's happening. Because I don't like when I have to like apply force with tweezers, because you kind of can't. That's not like what tweezers are meant for. In case you wanted to relearn some elementary physics and how the fulcrum works and how force distribution works. Like, So I believe there's different classes of lever, and tweezers like this are a type of lever. There's like the classic lever that's like the fulcrum is in the middle and the force is on like the applied. There's like the stationary force and there's the applied force. The applied force is on one end and the stationary force on the other, and the fulcrum is in the middle. And when you want to lift something really big, the fulcrum has to be as close as possible to the like stationary force. When you have something really heavy that you want to lift, because the way the force is applied, like it gets if you wanted to lift something heavy and you had the fulcrum really far away and the like stationary force here and the applied force, it's a lot harder to do this than if the fulcrum was up close and the applied force is far away. And so tweezers are kind of like that in the sense, so they're a different class of lever where the fulcrum is at the end and the applied force in the middle. And so it's a little bit different, but it's like tweezers are basically, what I'm trying to say is because they're like long, and the fulcrum is closer to your applied force, these things are just not like optimized for applying a lot of force. So it's annoying when you have to apply a lot of force with tweezers because they're just like not built for that. They're just not built for that, and it's annoying. And so that's kind of what I'm experiencing right now, because it's not like, I know I could use tweezers to do this. It would be less annoying. Not less annoying, but it'd be like easier to hold these little tiny finger bits with tweezers. But the thing is, like, I have to apply force, and so applying force with tweezers is kind of like not possible. Or at least it's not ideal. Which, yeah. This goes this way, and I also need, where's G? Where did I put? I know I cut it out. There's G3. But where's the last little digit? There it is. There's the last little digit. I'll zoom in. Oh, I forgot. Since I changed my settings, I didn't fix this. Well, that's fine. We're gonna zoom in actually, so you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. Honestly, even I can't fully see what I'm doing with these little fingers. I really don't. Which way is this? This is supposed to go this way. And then I take, oh, I didn't cut off the little, I didn't cut off this little thing. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's getting kind of cloudy. I hope the weather is nice though. The weather is nice out today. I'm looking forward to being outside. I didn't expect a lesson on force dynamics. You're welcome. You're welcome to those of you who've come to the stream not expecting a lesson on elementary physics, but you're welcome. You're welcome. If you ever gotta lift something really heavy, that's kind of what levers are for. Don't forget to put the fulcrum closer to the stationary object that has to be lifted, because that's how applied force works. Is that I know there's like an equation for it of like the distance from the applied force to the fulcrum and relative to the stationary object is that like your amount of force gets you have to put in less force for greater output this way. But if the fulcrum is closer to you, it's like, ooh, it's not as much. And you start having to put in more force for less output, which is not ideal. But the thing is, like tweezers and forceps like this, the purpose is not to lift heavy objects. It's just to like, it is good for like a little bit of, it's meant to grabby. It's meant to grabby. Which is a little different. It's not meant for the purpose of like applying a ton of downward force. Which is why it's really hard to squeeze something really tight with tweezers. It's almost always a lot more effective to just press it physically with your hands. Did I cut out G6? Did I? Please? Oh, I didn't. Okay. It's like, I don't see it anywhere right Here, if I cut it out, I would have been a little screwed because I don't know where it went. But we're good. But we're good. But yeah, I've been continuing the anime that I started watching. You know, I talked about it last week. It kind of did come out of left field for me. I've been enjoying Windbreaker. I've been enjoying Windbreaker. It's like not, I wouldn't consider it like the best show I've ever seen, but I've been having fun with it, which is more than I can say for like most shonens. Usually I just don't like them. I'll be real with you, usually I just don't like them. I'm not a shonen fan, I never have been. Ended up using needle nose pliers for most cases like that, because stuff would be, yeah. Well, needle nose pliers are different, okay? The thing with pliers, needle nose pliers are more like these little, are more like my nippers, where technically it's still a little bit of a lever, but like, the fulcrum is over here. See, this is the other class of lever. This is another class of lever, where the fulcrum is over here and the applied force is in the middle. Like, the fulcrum's in the middle and the applied force is at the end, and the like receiving force is on the other end. So that's why needle nose pliers are good for gripping really tight. That's why you use pliers to grip things really tight. Tweezers and pliers are two different types of levers. Needle nose pliers are great for that stuff because needle nose pliers are built for like gripping. Pliers are built for like gripping, which is great, which is what pliers are meant for. I've absolutely used pliers to like, you see, sometimes jars are hard to open, okay? I've had like nail polish jars, or like, I did this to a jar of pesto once. That was just really hard to open and annoying. Wait, they made a Windbreaker anime, the bike racing model? See, that's, okay, someone else brought this up to me. Where they're like, oh yeah, it's airing right now. There's this anime that's airing right now about like cycling anime that's airing right now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What cycling anime? And they're like, it's like not entirely about cycling, but they do ride bikes. And they're like, oh yeah, it's Windbreaker. And I'm like, Windbreaker? Windbreaker, the anime, I've not seen a single bicycle in that entire anime. I mean, it's only like 5 episodes out, but you would think if it's about cycling, they would feature at least one bicycle within the first 5 episodes. They haven't. I've not seen a single bicycle. It's about fighting. It's about like delinquents. And like gang fighting. Like, that's what that's about. It's about fist fighting. And it's pretty fun. There's like, it's very, very typical shonen. There's like the good guy squad and how they're like, yeah, they used to be, a bad guy squad, but then this one guy like was really strong and like unified them, and he's just like a really nice guy. So he's just like, no, our squad's purpose is now to help the local neighborhood. Our job is to like protect the local neighborhood from like the other bad guys. So that's what they're doing. But there's like other squads that like want to mess them up, and so it's a fighting anime. It's about them fighting the bad squads. And it's pretty fun. All the characters are I like all the characters. I've talked about it before, but I like all the characters. No, I've not seen a single bicycle though. Someone else brought this up. They're like, it's about bicycling. I'm like, no? Does it become about cycling? I don't know. Same name, extremely different. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It might have been that. Might be a case of that, of like, they just happen to have the same name, because I'm like, I'm gonna look up Windbreaker, like the one that you're talking about. I'm gonna look this up to see like what that's like, because I'm curious now, because you're not the first person that mentioned like Windbreaker and bicycling to me. Windbreaker manhwa. Oh, yeah, this one's about cycling. They're both called Windbreaker. They have the exact. This is so funny. They have the exact same title. They're completely different. They're completely different. You know what's also kind of funny is they also have protagonists with black and white hair. Well, actually, I don't know what the protagonist of Windbreaker the manhwa has black hair. I don't know why. I saw a character that has black and white hair. But no, they are entirely different. They're completely different. They're spelled, and they're spelled exactly the same. But yeah. Okay, well, mystery solved. One of them is a manhwa about cycling, and the other is a manga about beating people up. And the one that's about beating people up is now an anime, and that anime is pretty decent actually. I like it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty like wacky, like it's very comedic to me. The one about bicycling or the one about fighting? Because the one about fighting is a comedy partially. It's got its moments. Oh, I forgot to snip that. See? Like, what happened? It's because I forgot to cut off these little nubs. I try to be better. I've been honestly, please don't call me out about like how badly I've been dealing with nub marks on this kit. I simply haven't been. It's something I will try and fix in post, basically. I've decided I'm basically gonna fix it in post. I know I could be being better about this, but I'm simply not. I'm simply not. I am but a man, and I am lazy. And so basically I will try my best to fix, because I more or less know how to get rid of stress marks. And if all else fails, I have Gouf Blue. I literally already, because I anticipated this, I bought the paint for Gouf Blue. Or at least I know you can mix it, but you can purchase Gouf Blue. And so I'm like, I'll just paint it if I have to. but yeah, is the one about is the bicycling one good? I mean, if it's good, I'll check it out. Cause I'm still on my webtoon journey. I watched a YouTube video the other day that was basically just like a love letter to like villainous manga, and it just like made me so happy because like, yeah, I genuinely really do like the villainous genre. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, but also I do genuinely think there's good stories in there. I do genuinely, like, a lot of people don't take it seriously because it is like, haha, shoujo isekai, girl isekai, but like, listen, there's good stuff in there. Just no one ever believes me. There's one right now that I'm reading that I really like actually. It reminds me a little bit of Frieren in the sense that the main plot is there's this lady, she's like very kind of apathetic. She has a very subdued personality, but that's mostly because she is so devoted to her ideal of like being, I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit. She's so devoted to her ideals of like being a knight, because she's a knight. But obviously in this day and age, it like, well, the way the story sets it up is like in the age of the story, like people, there's like the traditional like Knights of the Round Table that like pledge yourself to a liege and like have these like standards of like morals of being a knight and being the ideal knight. But these days most people just treat it kind of like a job, which is kind of how it is. The biking one. Speaking of shoujo isekai, did you watch Ray Earth yet? No, not yet. I've been wanting to though, because I know Ray Earth is Clamp. I know Ray Earth is a Clamp manga, and I've been wanting to, as a Clamp fan. The biking one was okay from what I remember. I got caught up with the release and then fell off from it. You know, yeah, you know, in sports and anime. You know, I do know you in sports and anime. You might actually enjoy the anime Windbreaker too. It's not sports, but it feels like one a little bit. They're having a tournament arc right now. They're literally like starting up. There's a tournament arc happening right now. So even though it's not like technically sports, it follows, I feel like, a lot of the beats of sports. So I feel like you might enjoy it, actually. Because, I don't know, I like it. It says a lot that I like it, because I am usually a shonen hater. And then, I get to put on his little shoulder thing. Oh my god, oh god, kind of annoying to get in there though. Oh, this is kind of annoying to get in there though. I don't know why they did it this way. I'm trying so hard. Please, please, cooperate. No, my camera! My camera. I was struggling so hard my camera exploded. We're gonna turn this off, okay. Activate. Okay, just blank. There's nothing there because my camera's off. Turn off my camera. We're gonna turn on my camera for real. Okay, excellent. Oh, man. Hopefully we'll be okay. I'm just gonna pray. I'm gonna hope. If it keeps messing up like this, I don't want to turn off my camera, but also I don't want to have to turn off my camera, but like I also don't want to just leave it freaking out. Yeah. That's so unfortunate. I don't just want to like turn off my camera and leave it like that, because that's not good. This is a visual medium. You know? This is a visual medium. Ow! And I've injured myself. Not really. I haven't like actually injured myself, but I did hurt my finger. Luckily that happened while my camera's off. I'm not bleeding, don't worry, but it is a little, my fingernail is a little rough. I broke my nail. It's not bleeding, don't worry, but I did break my nail and that kind of hurt. This bit's so annoying. And also broke my fingernail. Come on. It just doesn't. Why did they design it like that? How the hell did they expect people to attach this? Oh my god, did I get it? Okay, I think I got it. I hope I did. If it comes off, well, that's simply the way. That's simply how the cookie crumbles. We're gonna turn this off just one moment. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this for just one moment. We're gonna turn this back on. We're gonna do this. Okay. We're gonna do this. Okay. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. And then we're gonna do that. Yay! We did it. I don't know if you can notice, but my nail's kind of messed up. But pretend it isn't. But look, we have an arm. We've done it. We have an arm. His finger mobility is crazy though, because he's got so much like. All of these are. Wait, we're gonna zoom in. Like, all of these are individually posable. Look at this. And he's got the little like bending joint too. Like, look at that. Look at that. His finger mobility is crazy. I can like. This is insane. Can point. He point. Yeah, excellent. I'm very happy. Yeah. I honestly kind of forgot what I was talking about. I think I was talking about Windbreaker. Windbreaker is fun. Windbreaker is cool. It's not like that serious, but it is fun. And we have an arm. I kind of want to save the second arm for next week. I'm like, I know I could start the other arm, but I kind of don't want to. I kind of don't want to. Because I feel like it will pace better if we start it next week. Because also then we can start working on. I think the second arm will go faster, and also like, because I will have like all of my stuff. I have some of my tools. I have most of my tools, but I don't have like all of my tools because I'm traveling. I didn't pack all of them. As you can see, I packed kind of in a rush because it isn't like, it's not even because I didn't plan this trip, like this was a last minute trip. It wasn't. I had all the time in the world to pack and I just didn't. That was simply my own choices. Oh, I remember now. I was talking about a villainous manga that I was reading about a knight. She's a knight, and she's like very much holds herself to the ideals of like the ideal knight, to the point where like she is so like stuck in her ideals of like what a knight is meant to be that she ends up ostracizing like most of the people in her life because they're like, you are not like a real person, and to the point where she like is even like kind of condescending to them because she kind of looks down on them for like not being as good of a quote unquote knight as she is. And everyone else is kind of like, we do this because I do this because I want to be good at fighting, like with sword fighting, and it is my job. But she's like lives and breathes the life of being a knight, to the point where she devotes herself to the, like she swears her allegiance to the emperor and like does anything and everything he tells her to do, even when he tells her to do like morally questionable things like killing innocent people. She does it anyway because she's like, I am a true knight. I am devoted to the word of my lord. Like that's, but the thing is, she not once is she ever like recognized for her efforts. Like she gives her whole life for this. She gives her whole life for this. And at the very end, she ends up getting framed for a crime commit by her lord. Basically, the emperor commits a crime, and she ends up having to take the fall. And he's like, "My final command to you is to die for me." And so she just gets like executed for this crime she didn't commit. And she's like, "No, like, why would you lie about that?" Like it's so like baffling to her. She cannot like comprehend the idea of like getting convicted for a crime she didn't commit. She's like, no, I've only ever done the right thing. Isn't that supposed to be like what makes my life worth it? I do the right thing. I do what I believe is the right thing. And she's just living her life to that ideal, and at the end of the day she died for it. But because this is a webtoon, she gets sent back in time 5 years before like she truly like swears herself to the emperor. She's still like, she's in the she starts in like the second, so there's like the second order and the first order of knights. The first order is like under direct command of the royal family. They're like the cream of the crop. They're like the knights of all knights. And then the second order is more like meant for they're more for like monster suppression, that kind of thing. But obviously the first, they do work with the first order sometimes, but basically she's in the second order. She's just living, and she's like, oh man, she gets sent back in time, and she's like realizing like everything that she did wrong in her life. Basically, she like didn't have any friends. No one liked her because she was like so stuck in this ideal of like being the ideal knight that she kind of was like felt like she was above everyone else. And she's like, I don't need to make connections with people. I just need to be a good knight, and then I will be happy. But the thing is, where that led her is dying painfully and sadly in a jail cell. And she realizes like there's exactly like one person in her life that even believed her, and it was someone from her time in the second squad that like when she was like on death row, he's the one person that came to see her and was like, I believe you, please, like, for like stop being a knight for like 2 seconds and leave, like run away, you don't have to die for this, I know you didn't do it. And she's like, well, she's a knight and she must obey her lord's command, which is to die for him. And she's like, I didn't want to do any of this. He was the one person, like, I followed who I thought was correct, and it led me to, like, this unhappy, painful life and death. And so she goes back in time, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna actually like try and be happy this time. I'm gonna like actually try and be happy. I am going to, and the reason why it reminds me of Free Run is because one, she's got a very like blunt personality. She's got a very blunt personality, but also it's about her like, it's kind of like, because the other thing is she had to watch in her like original timeline, she had like the people that were in her squad, like a bunch of them, like some of them died or they left or they just like were unhappy, and she's like, I wish I got to know them now. Like the one person I thought if I depended on, you know, her liege her whole life, she'd be fine, but that wasn't. Meanwhile, this person that she basically like cast aside in her pursuit of being a true knight, she basically like ignored him and cast him aside. He was the one person who believed her at the very end. And she's like, oh, I wish I like got to know them a bit more. Like I wish I like pursued my own happiness a little bit, because yeah, this sucks. She's like, yeah, this sucks. And so she goes back in time and she's basically reliving that part of her life and is like, I'm going to be happy now. I'm going to like try and understand people, and I'm going to like try and change my perspective. It's like it's very character driven, and it's very like, you really do see her piece by piece reshaping her perspective of the world, and it's so well written and it's so good, and it's about her like slowly reaching out to the teammates, like to the people in her life that she wished she had gotten to know. And it wasn't until it was too late that she realized the reason that's why it reminds me of Free Run. She didn't realize that she could like the people in her life that she wished she had gotten to know until it was too late. She was like, either they had already died and then she died. So she's like, it's too late for me to like make up with them and get to know them. But she was given the chance to go back in time and do it all over again. And so now it's a lot of her like building those relationships from scratch and like learning how to be a person. And it's very sweet and it's really good. And it's her like earnestly making these connections, and how bit by bit she's like changing how she sees the world and how she sees herself. And it's really good. It's very well written. It's called Sigrid. It's called, I realized I didn't mention the title at all. It's called Sigrid. It's a webtoon, but it's very good. And yeah, she's like, you know what? It's kind of funny. Her change in personality is so abrupt that the people around her in her squad are like, is she dying? Like, is she terminally ill? Like, what's happening? But luckily, they realize she's not. But it's like, it's so beautiful and it's so genuine. And it's so like, she does something. There's one part where she saves the life of one of her friends that because she's come back from the future, she knows that he's going to die in this encounter. And she's like, I don't want him to die. And so she saves his life. Even though it meant like sacrificing part of her ideals, because originally like why he died is because they basically like the mission got to a point where it was basically a suicide mission. Like they didn't know going in, but it became a lot more difficult. And so in order to like maximize personnel, they're like, we're just gonna cut our losses. Whoever's already fighting this beast is like, leave them. Everyone else, we're going to prioritize like saving the rest of the squad. But she's like, no, I know my friend is going to die out there if I leave him. So she disobeys her command and she goes. And it's like, it's like seeing her sacrifice her ideals, doing something she would never have done. And in the end, she's like, she felt really bad about it. And she was like, that was not correct. She had to kind of like fight against her instincts of like keeping her head down and just listening to what she's told to be like the ideal knight. And she's like, no, I want to save my friend. And so I'm going to do that. And she does. And it's really sweet. She does save his life, and she's like, realizes like, oh, I feel better. Like, even though I went against my ideals, I don't regret my decision. And it's really sweet. It's a good series. It's about her like making friends and challenging her worldview bit by bit. And it's very it's like obvious. It's also very realistic in the sense that it's very clunky at first because she truly like her backstory. She's a main character, so obviously she has a tragic backstory. She's like an orphan and doesn't know, like that's why she became a knight, because she doesn't know anything else. Like becoming a knight is kind of the only path she had as someone as an orphan. She's like, well, I'm good at fighting, so this is kind of all I got. So she like doesn't, because she had spent her whole life like being this ideal knight, like she doesn't really know how to interact with people a lot. She doesn't really know how to like push her boundaries and like what she's supposed to do. And so it's very like very interesting to like see her experience that, and like the people around her are very forgiving. Obviously they're her, like they are her friends and they want to be her friend, and she like slowly makes connections with them and slowly like gets to know them. And it's really interesting how you can see like as she gets to know the people in her life, like you can see their influence on her and how it changes how she thinks about things, because there's like a point when she encounters a problem. She handles it the way that she believes is right. She's like, I did the right thing. I did the right thing. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. I did what I'm supposed to do as a knight. Like, I saved a citizen who was being attacked. Like, that's the right thing to do. But unfortunately, the person attacking the citizen was like a noble with a lot of power. And so now she's getting framed for like a crime again. And she's like having all this PTSD about the first time it happened to her. She's like, oh God. But she's like, well, I don't know how else to deal with this. Like, I told the truth. Like, this isn't right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. But one of her friends who has a lot more familiarity with like how power works, how politics works, is like, this is how you maneuver. Like, no, you can't just like butt into it head forward, like head straight, and just assume that it'll be okay. You kind of have to like maneuver politically and understand the state of things. And she's like, oh. And you can see her when something completely separate happens later. You see her like apply that. She's like, I don't like doing this. I don't like that we basically had to like defeat a lie with another lie. But like, the end result was now I'm no longer framed for this crime. And so it's like, oh. And so it's very interesting. You use like, it's very good. It's very good. I've been liking it a lot. I highly recommend it. It's a really good webtoon, and it reminds me a little bit of Free Ren, except she actually does get to go back in time. It's a little bit more feel good because you like she actually does get to go back in time and meet her friends again and actually like fix her mistakes of like actually talking to them and reaching out to them and connecting with them when she when she didn't at first. And yeah. We finished the arm. I might cut it just a tad early today. I think that might be the move because I just think this is a good stopping point. My congestion is only getting... Sorry if you guys can hear my congestion. It's only getting worse because of my allergies, and so it's just getting kind of annoying for me to talk for much longer than this because I am quite congested. I'm quite congested. I will be real with you. And so I think I will make the executive decision to cut it a few minutes early. But I will be back next week. We will be finishing Mr. Gouf. Next week, I can attach one of his arms. He can be the one-armed. He can have a single arm right now. He can have a single arm right now. If it wants to actually get in there is the other thing. Because I don't want to break anything. I don't want to break it. But also, I want his arm to be in there. There we go. He has a single arm. Okay? He looks so cool. I'm so happy. I love Gouf. This is such a cool kit, and I'm so glad I have finally gotten around to building him. I look forward to next week when we will be finishing Mr. Gouf. He will have another arm, and hopefully we might have time to work on some of his weapons. And yeah, that will be the goal for next week. Thank you all for tuning in today. thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Don't forget to like, comment. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't, and also copy the link for the stream if you have not, because that does help. And yeah, bye bye.